We don't need another hero. Beyond Thunderdome. Hello and welcome to the third and final of our deep dive into this wonderful little role-playing game that never received as much praise as it should have. Atomic Highway from Colin Chapman, which uses the V6 engine. Okay, so this is a dice pool system, very similar to other dice pool systems, very similar to Tales from the Loop, very similar to West End games, in that you get a number of dice based upon the skill you're using. Your skills you acquire with a number of pips or whatever at the beginning of the game. And then when you're attempting a situation, you roll dice. So the way the V6 engine works is first the dungeon master, or I guess the atomic master, says what the scenario is. Like you got to climb a wall, or you got to shoot a bird, or you got to convince this person to give you information. So first thing you do is you pick, and then he comes up with the what you need, the number you need. All right, so first you pick what attribute you're going to use. So let's say we're climbing a wall. That would be muscle. That's one of the stats in the game. And then you look to see how many points you have in muscle. So let's say we have 4. We've got a muscle of 4, because that's the example here in the book for Rex. So Rex has a muscle of 4, and he wants to climb the wall. So he's going to roll a number of 6-sided dice equal to the attribute, with each 6 being a success. So in this game, 1 through 5, utter failure. Or success, but something bad happens. But no, just success is your only success. So that's the difference between like Tales from the Loop. No, actually, Tales from the Loop is also either 6. So that's the difference between like Powered by the Apocalypse or West End games, where you can have other numbers that try and equal 2 or whatever. But this one is a 6, and for every 6 you get is a success. And then if you roll a 6, you get to roll that dice again. So in our example, Rex has a muscle of 4. He's climbing the wall. We roll a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 6 on our 4d6. So that means we get to roll that successful 6 again, and then we roll the successful 6 again, but this time we only get a 2. So every success, and then you need a certain number of successes to beat the challenge, like 1, 2, 3. Very similar to Tales from the Loop. Now, how skills work in this game is not an extra dice. There are a finite number of points you can spend to bump up those D6s. So you can split the skill levels your character has however you want among the dice. So if you possess a skill at level 5, you could add 2 points to one result, 1 point to each of the 3 others, or 1 point to each of 5 results, or all 5 points to a single result, however else you want. So let's say Rex has a muscle of 4 and a climb walls of +1. So that's an extra 1 he could add to any of those dice. So if he rolled a 2, 3, 5, and 6, he could spend that 1 point to make that 5 a 6, giving him 2 successes and 2 chances to roll again for a third success. And then the number, let's say the DM decides you need 2 successes to climb this wall. Oh, I've made 2. So it's a finite number of points. That's the big difference, it seems. It's not a extra dice. Like I have a muscle of 4 and a climb walls of 2, so I'm rolling 4 muscle dice and 2 climb walls dice to get at least 2 6s. I'm rolling 4d6 for my muscle, but I can add a point or whatever to those. But once I spend that point, I can't use it again till the next session. Those points then restart when the next game is. And when you fail, obviously, things happen like 1s are the failures in this game. So let's say Rex fires his pistol. He rolls his pistol. He rolls 2 dice and he gets a pair of 1s. He's failed miserably, and he's, gets to roll in the fail miserably table if there is one. So that's the basics of the V6 engine system. You have a certain number of pips to add to your stats. Stats range from 0 to 5 in this game. Anything over 5 being superhuman, we can get through mutations in this game, or whatever, spells or psionics. And then you have a certain number of skills. those skills are one and done bonuses you could add to dice rolls to try and get successes. Every six is a success. The other numbers don't count. Every one is a failure. You're trying to get a certain number of successes to climb the wall. So there we go. Is this system hackable? It seems pretty simple. I don't know which I like better. Just rolling lots of d6s. I mean, there's always something awesome about rolling 15 d6 to get a success. You know, so the more, or d8, d10, the more success, the more dice you can roll, even if it means absolutely nothing, is always more fun. But having a finite number of skill points or a finite number of luck points that you can add to those dice rolls to hopefully get a success. There's something attractive about that, because it forces the players to consider their resources. I mean, how many times can I push this luck before I run out of my points? And then the next time I'm going to need it, do I just risk that I'm going to roll a d6 or not? So it's interesting. It is definitely hackable. Slightly confusing, but still hackable. So yeah, I could see some other types of games being used. It's a very action-oriented game, so obviously something slow and cloggy probably wouldn't work, like typical D&D fantasy. But, you know, fast action, roll a lot of dice and then just keep going type game. So definitely work with anything involving gunfights, superheroes, over-the-top actions, you know, pushing your luck. Yeah, so definitely anything modern or more visceral action-based fantasy as opposed to the sluggy, chunky fantasy that D&D and Pathfinder is. So other than the layout, which is just my personal thing, as I've already said, the layout is a little unusual because it's lore, rules, and I'd rather just have all the rules in front for character creation and how to run the game, and then all the lore, and then all the subtables and whatever in the back. But that's me. That's how my brain works. And some people, I've been told, like to have the lore first, as it gets them in the mood for the game. Or, you know, have the lore be part of the character creation. So for every step of the character creation, there's lore. But it's a small game. It was relatively cheap. It's got nice black and white art. The layout is great. There's no wasted space. The system is relatively simple. I think you could be one and done with a character in like 5 minutes and start playing. So yeah, I enjoy this game. You can get this from Drive-Thru RPG direct to print, or you can contact Colin Chapman directly and see if he's still selling copies. Check it out if you're in the mood for an Atomic Highway, Mad Max, Car Wars style role-playing game and don't want to spend $100. I will talk to you later. Dun 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 dun.